Hello everyone and welcome to UK Foundations. I am Uttaraditi and today we'll be doing our environment chapter which belongs to the biology part. So let's begin without any further ado into the MCQ questions. Right, so what is it? Which one of the following is an artificial ecosystem? What is an artificial ecosystem? Artificial ecosystem is that which is not a natural ecosystem, right? These are also called as man-made ecosystem. Any ecosystem which actually doesn't exist but we make them, right? So pond, yes, definitely they exist naturally. A crop field, let's just keep it on a hold. Lakes, yes. Forests, yes. How crop field is a artificial ecosystem is it's because in the crop field, what do you observe? You'll see the crops growing on the seeds and being the field being plowed, right? The land is natural, but then on the land, whatever crops that grow or the seeds that are being sown, all of these makes it a crop field, and all of these are done by a man, right? So henceforth it is a artificial ecosystem, option B, right? Next, in a food chain, right, the third trophic level is always occupied by. So let's see what is the third trophic level. Okay, usually each step or level of a food chain or a food web is called as a trophic level, right? So starting you have the producers. Okay, of course later all are consumers, but then if you speak specifically, then producers are the green plants. Green plants are eaten by herbivores, right? Okay, so this is the first trophic level, this is the second trophic level, then the third trophic level will be of which? So you can just eliminate the herbivores and the producers. Okay, so because the third trophic level, of course it can't be another producer because no plants will feed on the herbivores, or you can't have any other herbivore because a herbivore feeds on the green plants. Okay, decomposers only when it's dead, but usually you don't consider them under the trophic levels. Decomposers don't come under trophic levels, so you can have the carnivores because carnivores definitely can feed on the herbivores. So it is option A. Next, the third question. An ecosystem includes all living organisms, non-living organisms, both living and non-living organisms, sometimes living organisms and sometimes non-living organisms. So what is an ecosystem? What are the components of an ecosystem? If you remember, first one is a biotic component. Secondly, we have an abiotic component. Correct? Right. So biotic includes all the living beings, so living organism should be there. So it is not a non-living organism, right? Sometimes living, sometimes non-living. We don't go with that kind of work, right? It's not like sometimes you take living objects and you don't take the living, right? Next, so biotic and abiotic. Biotic are all the living organisms. So living you should definitely take, and abiotic are the non-living organisms, and these also you should take. So both living organisms and non-living organisms, it is third option. Let me just correct this. Maybe I should reduce the width. Okay, right, so it's third option. I hope it's clear. Next question. In the given food chain, suppose the amount of energy at the fourth trophic level is 5 kilojoules. Note the point, it's kilojoules. What will be the energy available at the producer level? So this is a producer level, then this is the first trophic, this will be of course the first trophic level, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth. So I'm sure you'll be aware about the 10% law, right? So 10% of energy, if you go from here to here, I mean right from the first trophic level to moving on, the 10% will continuously keep decreasing. Means if you have 50, then it will become 5, right? only 10% of it will get transferred. Now if you are going in the reverse way, it's like you're adding a zero, am I right? So here in the fourth trophic level you have 5 kilojoules. Next, in the frog's trophic level, you should add one zero because you're going against the reverse direction, 50 kilojoules. And in the second trophic level, you'll have 500 kilojoules, and here you'll have 5000 kilojoules. So you can just check how many times you have to change. 1, 2, 3. So I mean it's 1, 2, and a and 3. So you have to jump 3 times, and henceforth you will add 3 zeros. So you can just use that method, and you will have 3 zeros following the initial energy, which is the 5 kilojoules. Henceforth this is the answer, 5000 kilojoules. Right, now the fifth question. Accumulation of non-biodegradable pesticides in a food chain in increasing amount at each higher trophic level is biomagnification. Yes, we have done this in while reading the NCERT book, right? So the accumulation, where in which trophic level is it the highest? Speaking like keeping in the mind like the humans occupying the highest level of trophic level. Okay, so when they occupy the highest position in the trophic levels, we are the ones who have a large accumulation of the chemicals. So right, so this consequent accumulations in each trophic level is termed as biomagnification. Okay, now moving to the sixth question. Depletion of ozone is mainly due to depletion of ozone. So we have seen this in the textbook. It's very clearly given that chlorofluorocarbons, which is also called as CFCs, are main reasons for ozone layer depletion, right? So in which places are they found? They are found in the refrigerators, right, the coolants, along with the fire extinguishers. I mean, now it is illegal to produce such materials which are made up of CFCs, but yeah, we know that it can't completely be avoided from our daily life. So yeah, anyways, the depletion is caused by the chlorofluorocarbons. Next, moving to the seventh question. Organisms which synthesize carbohydrates from inorganic compounds using radiant energy are called as. So let me make this a little simpler. Inorganic substances and organic substances. Okay, so inorganic to organic and organic to inorganic. Inorganic to organic are producers. What does that mean? Producers convert the inorganic substances into organic substances. Speaking about plants, they convert the inorganic carbon dioxide and water, right, into the necessary organic compounds. And the decomposers, once these organisms are dead, these decomposers convert these organic substances. These organic substances are very complex, so they convert these complex organic substances into simpler inorganic substances. Now they are asking organisms which synthesize carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are very complex from inorganic compounds using radiant energy. So converting into organic from inorganic are seen in producers. Henceforth, it is B. Right, it is option B. Decomposers are the reverse. Herbivores, carnivores, they don't do such work. They just take in energy from some other organisms. They do not using the sunlight or chlorophyll. We know that they do not produce their own food. Eighth question. In an ecosystem, the 10% of energy available for transfer from one trophic level to the next is in the form of chemical energy. It's the chemical energy which is getting transferred from each trophic levels. So it is a chemical energy. Organisms of a higher trophic level, when feed on several types of organisms belonging to the lower trophic level, then they constitute which one? So we know that it should be a food chain or a food web, but how do you stick on to one? When organisms of a higher trophic level feed on several types of organisms belonging to the low trophic level. It means that one organism does not eat only another. It's not just one, but we are talking about linking many organisms. So linking of many organisms is seen in food web and not in food chain. Okay, next, flow of energy in an ecosystem is always, we know it's unidirectional. Let's just take an example. Grass eaten by grasshopper. Okay, so grass eaten by grasshopper. So we know that energy will flow right from grass to the grasshopper. So let's just keep the sun as well here. Okay, have you ever seen sun taking back energy from the grass, or grasshopper, or the reverse, grass is eaten by the grasshopper? Have you ever seen the grass eating grasshopper? No, right? So the energy which goes from one trophic to the level to the other does not revert back to the previous trophic level, we know that. So it's only unidirectional. This arrow which is going here, this is the only true one, the rest of them are wrong. The reverse part will not take place, so it's only unidirectional. Okay, excessive exposure to humans to UV rays results in which of these? UV is ultraviolet rays. Damage to immune system, yes. Damage to lungs, lungs have no issues on this. Skin cancer, yes, and peptic ulcers is a no. So it's 1 and 3. Okay, so these you would have also heard, like aging, skin aging and all of that. It also causes those kind of diseases. In which in the following group of materials, which group contains only non-biodegradable items? Non-biodegradable. In the first one, the first thing which strikes us is wood. Is wood non-biodegradable? Nope. So this option is ruled out. Polythene, detergent, PVC, yes, you can keep that into consideration because none of them are degradable. So 2 is correct. 3. Plastic, detergent, grass. Grass is degradable, so it's wrong. Plastic, bakelite, DDT, yes, it's not biodegradable, so it's 2 and 4, option D. Okay. Which of the following limits the number of trophic levels in a food chain? So the number of trophic levels in a food chain, why is it like 3 to 4 limited to this? Is it due to the water? What is related to the water? Polluted air? No, it's not deficient, it's deficient. Food supply? No. Decrease in energy at higher trophic levels, right? Only 10% of the energy is getting transferred, while the rest of the 90% is lost for some other kind of activities. It can be metabolic, it can be heat, it can be anything. So it is very less amount of energy being transferred, so there are limited number of trophic levels. Which of the following is incorrect? Whenever such key points are there, better to underline them. All green plants and blue-green algae are producers. Yes. Green plants get their food from organic compounds. Do the green plants get their food from organic compounds? I just wrote a picture right there. It's right from inorganic. They convert it into organic. Okay. Let's just keep it on hold. Producers prepare their own food from the inorganic compounds is true. Yes. Plants convert solar energy into chemical energy is true. So 14th one is B. Okay. Which group of organisms are not constituents of a food chain? Not a constituent of the food chain. So grass, lion, rabbit, wolf. So it seems to be right because grass can be the first, then rabbit, then wolf, then lion, or relatively arranging them. Plankton, man, fish, grasshopper. Let us make this clear. Plankton and fish belongs to water. Man and grasshopper belongs to terrestrial animals. So at least man will eat fish, but grasshopper in between, it doesn't correlate to anyone. So this is not a constituent. Wolf, grass, snake, tiger. Okay, grass, none of them are herbivores, so it is 3 is also wrong. Next, 4th option, if you see, frog, snake, eagle, grass, grasshopper. So grass, then grasshopper, then frog, snake, eagle. So this is a typical grassland food chain, right? So 2 and 3 are wrong, so it's third option. Okay. Next, the percentage of solar radiation absorbed by all the green plants for the process of photosynthesis. Percentage of solar radiation absorbed. It is not the amount of energy transferred, so it's only 1%. Only 1% energy is utilized by the leaf from the sun. In the given figure of 15.1, the various trophic levels are shown in a pyramid. At which trophic level is maximum energy available? Is it at 1, is it at 2, is it at 3, is it at 4? By looking at this triangle itself, you can say that the energy is continuously reducing on moving up. So maximum is in T1. Right? That's option 3. So you can say that T1 has the highest, then T2, then T3, then T4. So just see. In the question, if they ask maximum, of course it's T1. If they ask minimum, then it will be T4. Okay. What will happen if deer is missing in the food chain given below? So if deer is not there, of course it's going to cause an imbalance in the ecosystem, right? So the population of tiger will increase. The population of tiger will increase. So let's just assume what will happen. There are no deers, then there is no herbivores. So there are in the entire world, let's just think that there are no deers, and this is the only food chain that is visible in the entire world. So there are no organisms to eat the grass. So grass count will continuously keep increasing. It has no issues because it barely depends on the deer, right? It depends on the sun. Unless the sun is there, it can continuously undergo photosynthesis and increase its count. But tiger, which was dependent on deer, now deer is absent, so it has nothing to eat, so its population is slowly going to decrease because they'll starve. By no chance will tiger go and eat the grass, right? So it's like that. So the population of tiger increases? Nope. The population of grass decreases? Nope. Tiger will start eating grass? That is not possible. The population of tiger will decrease and the population of grass will increase. This is the answer. Okay. So next, 19th question. The decomposers in an ecosystem, I just told it. Do they convert inorganic substances? Nope. They convert the organic to inorganic forms is yes. Convert the inorganic to organic, it's not the decomposers work. Do not break down organic compounds is wrong. They definitely break down. That's the work of decomposers. So it's B. Okay. 20. If a grasshopper is eaten by a frog, then the energy transfer will be from. So grasshopper, is it a producer? So scrap it out. Is it, again, it's not a producer. Primary consumer, or is it a secondary consumer? Okay, so let's just write it. Grasshopper, right? Then you know it's the frog, then the snake, frog, snake, and likely it moves on. So then the energy transfer will be from the grasshopper occupies the primary consumer. It's a primary consumer, but it belongs to the second trophic level. So it's from the primary consumer to the secondary consumer C. It's from the primary consumer to the secondary consumer C. Okay, and you might ask that it might belong to some other trophic level, right? But then we know that grasshopper is a herbivore. So because it's a herbivore, it should occupy the place of a primary consumer. Next. Decomposable plastic plates should not be used because they are made up of materials with lightweight. That doesn't concern us. They are made up of toxic materials. Let's see. If they are made up of toxic materials, you know that plastic plates are used to eat foods. You'll go to some party and you'll get cake and all in plastic plates, right? So if they are made up of toxic materials, we will barely use them, so it's wrong. They are made up of biodegradable materials. If they are, let's just think, suppose we don't know that plastic plates are biodegradable or not. Of course, plastic means they are non-biodegradable. but still. Then plastic plates, if they are biodegradable, then it won't concern us itself, it's well and good. But as they are made up of non-biodegradable materials, their disposable plastic plates should not be used. It is option D. Next, let's do the short answer questions as well. Keeping in note that this is a short chapter. Okay, so why is improper disposal of waste a curse to environment? We know that wastes are of two types. You can consider them to be biodegradable wastes and the non-biodegradable wastes. Each of them have their own issues in decomposing. You can just highlight them and conclude the answer. If you see the biodegradable wastes, if they are just left like that, they'll produce some kind of foul gases. So it will create some kind of uneasiness among the people. That is the first thing. Second is during their process of decomposition, many insects and other organisms will use them as a site of breeding. So if they use them as a site of breeding, then it might harm us. It might be carriers of certain diseases and all of that. So henceforth, this is a curse. And non-biodegradable substances, there's not one, not two, plenty of issues. What are they? They are not, first of all, they are not decomposable. Number two is, if you consider plastic, if you burn them, they'll produce many harmful gases, right? And number three, if you take that, these can clog the drainage systems. You would have seen in the roads of India, of course, when the plastic at times in the drainages and all, you'll see the plastics, they just clog the system, and sometimes the waste water enters into the roads. Such issues can be seen on non-biodegradable substances. And also if any kind of organism feeds on them, it can become fatal, it can prove fatal for them. So due to all of these reasons, an improper disposal of waste, if you just throw them without any kind of knowledge about them, it's a curse for sure. Okay, write the common food chain of a pond ecosystem. So pond, you'll have animals which are in water, right? You can write a typical aquatic ecosystem. So let's see, you'll have phytoplanktons followed by zooplanktons, then phytoplanktons, zooplanktons, then you'll have not birds, fishes that eat them, small fishes, large fishes, and some of the fish eating birds. So you can write this as your common food chain. Okay, this is the 23rd one. 24th one, what are the advantages of cloth bags over plastic bags during shopping? Why are cloth bag used over plastic bags? You can write all the negative points of plastic, revert them back and write it as positive for cloth bags, because you don't see them there. Like these are biodegradable, cloth bags are biodegradable, they are reusable, you can wash them in use, and then they are recyclable, and they are you can put more substances into the cloth bag, and because they weigh very less, it doesn't add up a weight over you. Okay, and many such reasons, like they do not even cause environmental pollutions. So these are the advantages. For short answer and questions, I think this is plenty enough. Why are crop fields known as artificial ecosystem? I had explained it in the first question, which is they are prepared by the human beings, right? Artificial, they are also called as man-made here. Okay, so henceforth they are called as artificial or man-made ecosystem. Don't forget writing the man-made ecosystem as well. Differentiate between biodegradable and non-biodegradable substances with examples. So I said plenty of them. We'll just see the definitions of each of them. Biodegradable substances are those which can be degraded or broken down into simpler substances by the action of decomposers or any kind of other biological processes, like exposure to extreme heat or cooling or something like that, is a biodegradable substance. Non-biodegradable substances are those which do not degrade. They just don't want to change themselves by the action of any decomposer, or any kind of biological processes. So these are non-biodegradable substances. You can write the examples of them. Biodegradable substances, you will have wood, plastic and all. Okay, plastic is here, paper, wood and paper is your biodegradable substances. Plastic, you can see along with plastic, what else can you see? You can find some metals. A few metals are non-biodegradable and hence belong to this category. Okay. Next, 27th question. Suggest one word for each of the following statements or definitions. Okay, so the physical and biological world where we live. So this is talking about a very large scale. It's the world. So you can term them as environment. Okay. Environment is like the entire, the physical and the biological world where we live. Okay. So this is that, and each level of a food chain where transfer of energy takes place is called as the trophic level. That is the definition. Each step or level of a food chain is called as a trophic level. The physical factors like the temperature, rainfall, wind, soil of an ecosystem are what? So you know that we have two types of factors. We have the biotic and the abiotic. So the physical factors like these are the abiotic factors. Abiotic factors, examples itself, these are mentioned in your textbook. These, right? Organisms which depend on the producers either directly or indirectly for food are called as what? So which do not depend are called as autotrophs. So which depend on the producers are called as heterotrophs. Heterotrophic they are. So heterotrophs. Heterotrophs is enough. You don't have to write heterotrophic. Write that because heterotrophic is the mode of nutrition. Heterotrophs are the organisms. They can also be called as consumers, of course. Okay. 28. Explain the role of decomposers in the environment. What are the role of decomposers in the environment? Of course, decomposers play a vital role in the environment. They convert the complex organic substances into simpler inorganic substances, as said before. They'll help once they convert them into the inorganic substances, right? So these nutrients are stored for the plants again to be utilized. Now, if in one side the only the inorganic substances are converted into organic substances, but the reverse is not taking place, means the amount of inorganic substances is going to continuously keep decreasing. Then the plants will not have any kind of natural nutrients for them, right? So this role is done by decomposers. They play a very important role in reducing these effects. So right, that is the role of the decomposers. And also they'll remove all the dead. So they'll keep recycling the nutrients, and also they remove the dead so that the living beings can live their peaceful life properly. Okay. Select the mismatched pair in the following and correct it. Biomagnification is the accumulation of chemicals at the successive trophic levels of a food chain. Yes. Ecosystem is the biotic components of environment. It's not only the biotic, but it is also the abiotic. Okay. Aquarium is a man-made ecosystem is yes. Parasites are organisms which obtain food from other organisms. Yes, they just feed on the other organisms and take their food, right? So it is your second option, which is a mismatched pair, and we have treated that. Next, we do not clean ponds or lakes, but an aquarium needs to be cleaned. Why? So let's analyze. Okay, ponds or lakes, aquarium. So what is it? Aquarium is a artificial or a man-made ecosystem. Ponds or lakes are natural ecosystems. So what is the benefit of being natural? So let's just visualize it. Okay, so ponds or lakes it is created by the nature. So naturally they have all of those organisms which can clean the ponds or the lakes. But an aquarium, it is man-made, and there are no such organisms that can clean the aquarium. But what is there? Why do we have to clean them? In a pond or a lake, you'll see many fishes, right? They'll excrete the wastes. If it is not continuously cleaned, then it can become, the waste count might increase, and it will become fatal for the organisms living in there. So definitely it should be cleaned. Likely in aquarium, if you have an aquarium at your home, like a little one, then it definitely needs to be cleaned again and again, because the waste matter keeps accumulating in the water, and it can become fatal, it can be wrong for the organisms living there. So it definitely needs to be cleaned. So these are the reasons. Okay, so long question and answers, we'll be doing it in another video. So I hope you all liked this video, and I think it was communicable enough, the knowledge. Definitely spread the key of success, spread knowledge. Thank you.